Okay, good morning everyone, and Chazak. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Thursday morning, my friends, as we are approaching the holiday of Rosh Hashanah. And of course, we know that the only mitzvah of the day, according to the Torah, the main mitzvah of the day, is the mitzvah of the blowing of the shofar. And it's a beautiful mitzvah. It's a mitzvah that everybody makes sure to fulfill. We say a beracha beforehand. And it's very interesting is how many sounds do we have to hear on Rosh Hashanah? It's not clear if you just have the Torah shebichtav, if you just have the written Torah, according to the Pshat, it doesn't say exactly. It says that you should blow. I want to read to you actually the Pasuk. Pasuk says, Daber b'nei Israel, God says to Moshe to speak to the Jewish people, "B'chodesh hashevi'i be'ehad lachodesh, yihye lachem shabbaton, zichron teru'ah b'kra kodesh." It should be a day of teru'ah. A teru'ah means to blow, teru'ah. We know the sound of the teru'ah is by itself not so clear either. What is teru'ah? It's mahloket. Is teru'ah 3 short sounds? Do, do, do. Or is teru'ah 9 shorter ones? Or is it both? Right? So it's a big mahloket. And that only covers the teru'ah sound. We also know that we blow other sounds, the teki'ah, the straight, right? And then, how many times should I do that? So we need the Torah Sheba'al Peh to come. We need the other ways of learning halakha. That's called drash. To be doresh, to expound, to look deeper, to find what else we have to blow. Not just one teru'ah sound, but a few sounds. Okay. In all, the custom today is we blow 101 sounds. How it got to 101 from one teru'ah? Well, really, we have to blow a teru'ah, but we also have to blow 3 times a teru'ah, and we have to have, the Gemara Masechet Rosh Hashanah says that before and after each teru'ah, it has to be surrounded by a teki'ah. If you go fast forward to Leviticus, this is Leviticus 23, go just a couple of chapters to 25, it says that on the holiday of Yovel, on Yom Kippur, of the Jubilee year, V'ha'avarta shofar teru'ah, you should blow a shofar on the 7th month, on the 10th day. That's Yom Kippur. Yom Kippurim, ta'aviru shofar bechol artzechem. And the word over here, teru'ah, is right here. It appears in the pasuk, teru'ah, but it's preceded with the word v'ha'avarta, which is, Gemara understands, a simple sound, teki'ah, and it's also followed with the word ta'aviru, which is another teki'ah. If you look in the pasuk, you'll see it very clearly. So you have a ha'avarta, teru'ah, ve'ha'avarta. So you got to have a teki'ah, a teru'ah, and a teki'ah. So you need 3 sounds. That's 1. And then you need to do that 3 times. And then that's 9. But because we're not sure what the middle sound should be, so we have 30. We have a few opinions. So 9 turns into 30. And we do that sitting. And then we do it again in the Amidah. And then we do it in the repetition of the Amidah. So all in all, 30 becomes 90. And then we blow a few more. Why not? 101 sounds. Very nice. We know, so just all in all, just to summarize, the teki'ah is a long, uninterrupted sound. The teru'ah is a broken down sound. And there is significance to this, by the way. The reason that Hashem wants us to surround the teru'ah with teki'ah. According to the Kabbalah, the teki'ah represents the attribute of mercy. Midat rahamim. And the teru'ah represents the attribute of justice. Midat hadin. The teru'ah is din, The teki'ah is rahamim. So the Torah wants us to surround the deen with rahamim. To take the deen, the judgment, to surround it with mercy. As if to say that this is what God should be doing today on Rosh Hashanah. We ask God to please get off of the chair of deen and to sit on the chair of rahamim. So we blow a teki'ah and we blow a teki'ah. So it's sandwiched. The deen is sandwiched in rahamim. Beautiful. By the way, if you look in the pasuk in Tehillim chapter 47, a famous pasuk that we read right before we blow the shofar, the pasuk says, "Ala Elohim bitru'ah, Adonai bekol shofar." And if you know the names of Hashem, Elohim is the name of Din. The name of Din in the pasuk is touching Allah Elohim bitru'ah. When we blow the teru'ah, that arouses the midah of Din. Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei Rahamim bekol shofar. When I blow the kol, the simple sound of the shofar, without interrupting, the kol, the teki'ah, that's Hashem. Hashem bekol shofar. So we know that the even David HaMelech is maybe alluding to this. Elohim, Hashem, Teru'ah, Teki'ah. Why is that? Why is the Teki'ah a sound of mercy? Why is the Teru'ah a sound of Deen? What is the depth of it here? Let's go a little bit deeper today. Rabbi Bernstein explains on a simple level, the Teki'ah represents consistency. One long straight sound, uninterrupted. Teru'ah represents a broken down sound, inconsistent. Now it makes a lot of sense, by the way. Because in life, if you're going to commit to things, but you're going to not be consistent in them, if you're going to be like a teru'ah in your life, if you're going to come to shul yes today, no tomorrow, pray yes, no pray, keep one Shabbat, don't keep another Shabbat, this week kosher, next week no kosher, you're not going to grow in life like that. You got to be consistent in anything. If you want to be a good spouse, you want to be a good parent, you can't just show up sometimes good, right? You have mood swings. You're not going to be able to build a good relationship. If you're going to eat healthy today and then eat junk tomorrow, you're not going to lose weight. If you want to grow in life, you need consistency. Consistency is key. I like to play tennis. I have a pretty good forehand, good backhand also. I could actually hit the ball very hard. The only difference I think between me and the pro is that he could do it every time. I hit it once in, the other time out. That's really the only difference between people that are professional and not. It's not that I could score a basket, I could score it, I could shoot a ball, I could get it in, I could score a 3. The difference is how consistent are you. That's the key in life, Rabotai. The key when we pick something to grow with, whatever level you're on, you got to make sure you're on that level consistently. Life, you're going to grow slowly. We're not going to grow in one step. It's okay. Go slowly. Whatever slow means look like to you. Every person, today, Rosh Hashanah, we're going to pick something to grow. We're going to pick a new item. Pick something. It's okay. But pick something that you're going to be consistent. Pick an item that you could stay with. Not flip-flop. Not yesterday, no tomorrow. You got to pick one mitzvah that you know you could do. It's a little hard. You got to push yourself and then commit to it. Consistent. You can't just show up in class one day and then fall out for the next 3 weeks. It's nice, but you got to be consistent, my friends. That's the only way we're going to build anything. It's a point when you pick a resolution for the new year to pick an item that you know you could do consistently. A little bit hard, but you could push yourself. If it's going to be impossible, you're not going to do it. There's no point. The Gedolim, whenever they picked something for the new year, they picked an item that they knew they're going to be able to do consistently. A little bit hard, but they could push themselves. So we now understand a little bit why the teru'ah The broken down sound represents deen. That arouses justice, because that's not a good way to live. Broken, inconsistent. But the tiki, that's rahamim. That's on a simple level. That's a beautiful idea. That's level 1. But let us go a little bit deeper today. We know that Hashem has 13 attributes. Shlosh esre midot. We say them every day. God taught them to us at the Har Sinai when we sinned with the Het HaEgel. Moshe went up to pray to Hashem for mercy. And then God taught Moshe. He said, here, take these 13. Say them anytime you're in trouble. And you're good to go. And we know them. Amonai, Amonai, Kel Rahum V'Hanun, Erech Apayim, Rav Chesed Ve'emet, Notzer Chesed, Lalavim Nosei Avon, V'Fesh Avata V'Nakeh. These are 13 Midot Rahamim. The truth is, it's a little bit unclear what the 13 are, but the consensus, the Sidurim, a lot of them have Kel is it number 1, Rahum number 2, Hanun number 3, Erech number 4, Apayim number 5, Rav Chesed 6, Emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Nosei Avon, V'Fesha, V'Hata'a, V'Nakeh. 13. Okay. Now we also know that the number 13 does appear elsewhere. There are also 13 ways that the halakha is expounded. You know, halakha, like we said in the beginning of today's class, not everything is written in the Torah explicitly. If you're going to just be a type of Jew that follows whatever it says literally, you're not going to be able to be, you're not going to know anything. You can't be orthodox, you can't be anything. Because if you follow what it says literally, how are you going to know? It doesn't say much literally. It's very vague, the literal Torah. It just says blow. Blow what? Blow what, by the way? Trumpet. Saxophone. You can bring a flute to shul on Rosh Hashanah. You laugh at a guy like that. That's not Jewish. That's not Judaism. But really, if the guy's going to come and argue, well, I'm going to follow the written Torah. Okay, well, where does it say in the written Torah? Where does it say in the written Torah that you have to wear tefillin here and put it here? It says, al yadecha, it says on your hand. Maybe I should wear it on my hand. It should be like a glove, maybe, tefillin. And ben einecha, I should put it in between my eyes. You need the oral Torah. We need the Torah Sheba'al Peh. The Torah Sheba'al Peh was given side by side along with the Torah Shebichtav. And Hashem gave Moshe the tools with which to derive halakha correctly. He gave him 13 tools. There's 13 different ways that you could expound the psukim. We know what they are, by the way. It's not a secret. We have it over here in the Sifra. Sifra writes, Rabbi Ishmael Omer. Rabbi Ishmael says, B'shlosh esre midot ha-Torah nedreshet. The Torah is expounded in 13 ways. Number 1, I'll give you a few examples. Kal vachomer. Kal vachomer, obviously, you're allowed to derive halakha through logic. Kal vachomer. Sometimes it doesn't have to say it, it's obvious. Gezerah shava. Gezerah shava is if a word is written here and the same word is written there, then the two, there's a link, there's a highway connecting them, and you're allowed to transfer laws one from the next. Binyan av. So I'll give you an example. Binyan, the Torah writes that on Pesach you're allowed to cook. It doesn't say that by Rosh Hashanah, it doesn't say it by Sukkot. It only writes it by Pesach. But Pesach is a holiday. And if you're allowed to cook on Pesach, we could learn from here to all the other holidays that you're also allowed to cook. Binyan Av. Okay. So anyways, there's 13 ways to expound halacha. And when you learn Gemara, it's filled, by the way, with all of these things. The Gemara is filled. Now, rabbis tell us that these two sets of 13, they're actually very linked together. And every time we learn Torah, we know that in general, when I learn Torah, I'm arousing mercy. But actually, it's much more specific. The sources tell us that when I engage in one of the 13 methods of expounding the Torah, that has the capacity to arouse that specific midah of divine mercy. So when I use Kal Vachomer, number one, that opens up a door of number one. Number two opens up the door of the number two. Number three opens up the door of number three. If that's the case, let us turn back to the shofar for a second. Which sound is written explicitly? Which sound do we need to learn through dirasha? Which sounds do we learn from the text? And which sound is needed to be expounded? Well, in the beginning, we learned together today that by Rosh Hashanah, it only writes that you should blow a teru'ah. That's all the thing it says in the Pasuk in Vayikra, chapter 23. It says, Zichron teru'ah, to blow a teru'ah. But the other sound of teki'ah doesn't say it here. Actually, it says it, like we said, it says it by Yovel. It says it by Yom Kippur. The Gemara Masechet Rosh Hashanah says that the same way we blow on Yom Kippur of Yovel, because it says B'chodesh HaShevi'i, we can learn a Gezerah Shava. The same words, B'chodesh HaShevi'i, appear right here in Rosh Hashanah. B'chodesh HaShevi'i. B'chodesh HaShevi'i. B'chodesh HaShevi'i. There's now a highway. That's called Gezerah Shava. If it appears here that I blow a teki'ah, then I should also blow a teki'ah by Rosh Hashanah. So the teru'ah is learned because it says it beferush. It says it explicit. But the deeper reading tells you have to blow more than a teru'ah. I also blow a teki'ah. And one before and one after. Why? My friends, if that's the case, the sound of the teru'ah is the sound that's written explicitly. Now we understand why teru'ah is din. Because that's the pshat, that's the straightforward. The midah of teki'ah, the blowing of teki'ah, that's learned through a gezerah shava. Gezerah shava is the second way of 13 ways. So that mirrors the second midah of mercy. Kel rahum. So we understand rahamim now. Rahum mirrors gezerah shava. Teki'ah leads to rahum. But why is that? Again, it's very nice. But is there depth to this? Says Rabbi Bernstein, absolutely. Says Rabbi Bernstein, because when you look at a person, there's also on people, not only psukim, but even people, we have a pshat and we have a drash. You could look at a person and you could see what you see. What you see on the outside, the pshat. The person's not religious. The person's a negative person. The person speaks gossip. The person's stealing. He's angry. He's aggressive. They're not for me. They're this, they're that. So the pshat, you can look at the pshat, and a lot of times the pshat is very ugly. The pshat, deen. You see a person, no good. But sometimes in life you got to dig deeper. Sometimes you got to look beneath the surface. You got to look, you got to dig. Like the student one time, he came, he said, Rebbe, you think people on the outside, maybe they could fake, but really people inside, they're disgusting. They're disgusting. I know people, they come to shul, they smile, they pray, they're nice to you, but they're the biggest thieves. Deep down, they're thieves. And the rabbi said back, he said, it's very interesting. People come from the earth. The earth also on the outside is beautiful. Flowers and trees and plants. And you look a little bit under the surface and what do you see? You see worms, you see ugly. But the rabbi continued, he said, but if you dig even deeper, you find gold, you find diamonds. And every person, you got to dig deep, you'll find diamonds. Sometimes we get angry at people. We don't like them. They annoy us. And we find things to look at to see how to justify our jealousy or our annoyance, why they irk us. But part of our avodah is to look deeper, to be doresh, to look deep into the person, just like we would look deep into a text. And we find value. We see deep down there's something pure. And now we understand why the teki'ah is learned because you got to go. The teki'ah is learned by being doresh the pasuk. The teki'ah is learned by going deep into the pasuk, to seeking out. That's how mercy is aroused, when we look deep. We ask Hashem, don't look at us on the outside. On the outside, on the pshat, I could be very ugly, Hashem. I want you to go dig deep down, Hashem, please. I want you to see the good in me. I want you to relate to the good in me. And every one of us, our job on Rosh Hashanah is we have to remind Hashem, but more importantly, we have to remind ourselves who we really are. At our core, at our essence, we're pure. And that's the real me. That's the me that I'm proud of. That's the me that I identify with. Really, I want to do the right thing, Hashem. There was a rabbi in the Gemara, Rabbi Alexandri. He said as follows, Ribono shel olam, retzonenu la'asot retzoncha. God, I want to do your will. Really deep down, I'm good. But sometimes the yeast, the Yetzer Hara gets into the mix. But really, Hashem, I'm on the same page as you. Hashem, please judge me for who I really am. Who I really am. My inner. My lifnai ve'lifnim. At my core, Hashem. At my core, please judge me for who I really am. And the weight of my mitzvot, when I identify with my good, so the good that I do has a lot more weight because that's really me. And then the bad that I do, that's not really me, so the bad becomes very diluted. Maybe that's why we blow a shofar. Where did we blow from? You gotta blow out, you gotta exhale from your essence, from your depth. We blow the shofar as if to say, God, deep down, please look at my deep down. Look at who I really am. Don't judge me for my deeds. Judge me for how I define myself today. Deep down, I know I'm good. And maybe you don't see it on the outside. But please look inside. Please doresh. Please expound me. Please look deep down. And Hashem could do that. The whole question is, can we? God says, no problem. I could see. I know who you really are. Question is, can we each tap into our depths and find who we ourselves were meant to be? By the way, this connects beautifully to an Ora Hayim that we learned. I mean, we have to mention the Ora Hayim today. The Ora Hayim HaKadosh, back in Perashat Balak. Remember when Balak hired Bil'am to curse the Jewish people? And Bil'am came, he tried, didn't work. And the pasuk over there says, Lo hibit aven beYaakov, ve'lo ra'a amal beYisrael. He doesn't perceive aven, iniquity, in Yaakov. Ve'lo ra'a amal, there's no corruption in Israel. It sounds poetic, it sounds repetitive, right? The Ora Hayim says it's not repetitive. These two phrases are very different. Lo hibit aven beYaakov is one thing. He didn't see bad in Yaakov. Ve'lo ra'a amal beYisrael, and he doesn't see bad in Israel. But they're two separate things. What is the difference between Yaakov and Israel? We know Yaakov is a lower level. Yisrael is a higher level. And the verb used over here to see is a different verb. Hebit and ra'ah. What's the difference between ra'ah and hebit? Ra'ah is to look at very quickly. Lir'ot. That's to gaze. To quickly glance. But then there's hebit. The habit is to perceive. When I look deep into something. Wow. Says the Ora Hayim that even Balaam realized that when it comes to Yisrael, lo ra'a amal be Yisrael. When it comes to the higher level Jew, Hashem, you look at the outside quickly, you could glance at the person, or Sadiq, you could quickly glance at them and you could realize they're good. Right away, ra'a. You quickly look, you see automatically someone great. But when it comes to Yaakov type of Jew, when it comes to a lower level Jew, if you just use ra'ah, you won't see anything really impressive. You see something actually very ugly. So for Yaakov, you got to be mabit. For Yaakov, you got to look deeper. Lo hibit. When you look deep, also you realize there's nothing bad with this person. Deep down, this person also is very good. So now we understand the depth of the shofar. Now all of a sudden, it all ties together. Now the teru'ah is not just a sound. Now we understand teru'ah represents inconsistency. Teru'ah represents looking at something at a superficial glance. That's why that's a negative sound. It's a deen sound, not negative, deen. Judgment. Teki'ah is a much stronger sound. Teki'ah, we sandwich the teru'ah with teki'ah. Teki'ah, first of all, represents a consistent sound. That a person is not only doing, but a person's doing consistently. Every single day. Every single day. Like the great rabbis, one time they were discussing what's the most important pasuk. One rabbi said, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And another rabbi said, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Beautiful psukim. And then one rabbi came and said, Olat Tamid. The daily offering. That's the most important thing in life. The most important thing is every day. Every day. A little bit, a little bit, a little bit. Don't miss a day. Don't skip a day. And if you skip the day, it's okay. Brush it off, get up. Start today. Start today. Go back to consistency. That's the teki'ah. Doesn't end, doesn't end, doesn't end. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't break, don't stop. Don't go on, flip flop, flip flop, flip flop. Don't do that. Teki'ah. That's the consistent sound. That's rahamim. That's mercy. And then we also understand a little bit deeper today. Teki'ah is also a sound that we wouldn't have seen in the text if we just look at it quickly. If we just glance at the psukim, we don't see a teki'ah there. You got to go a little bit deeper. When we go deeper, deeper is rahamim. Deeper, we go deeper into people, and you find good in them. When Hashem looks deeper into us, He sees good. He's going to act with us with rahamim. Be'ezrat Hashem. By the way, now you understand why the Torah shebichtav is the element of deen. Because it's what's written. It's what you see. That's why you're not supposed to learn Torah shebichtav at nighttime if you don't have to. You're not supposed to just read psukim. That's why you're not supposed to read Tehillim. Because it has an element of deen, of judgment. Nighttime is judgment. You don't want to read judgment during the time of judgment. Rather, you're supposed to learn, instead of Torah shebichtav, you're supposed to learn Torah sheba'al peh. Because sheba'al peh, that's the doresh. That's expounding. That's digging deeper. That's the midav rahamim. That's mercy. So as an example, you'll find that the Torah shebichtav is sometimes a little bit more strict than the Torah sheba'al peh. The Torah shebichtav says that you have to, a person who's wicked, you whip him 40 times. The Torah sheba'al peh says, nah, it's okay, just 39 is enough. It says 40, it means 39. The Torah sheba'al peh is the rahamim. Now we understand the depth of that today. It's rahamim because it's the doresh. It's seeking the good, looking for the good. That's something that we have to work on. We find the good in ourselves. We find the good in other people. And B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem will look at the good in us. When we blow the tekiyah, we remind God, God, please don't look at us on a superficial level. God, please don't glance at us. Please don't see just what you see. God, please doresh us. I want you to expound me today. I want you to dig deep and look, find good in me. And B'ezrat Hashem will receive Hashem bekol shofar. We'll receive the mercy with the sound of the shofar. Okay, my friends, we'll stop over here. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.